Okay, if you've seen the previous ones, we did a 90 rotation, a 180 rotation. Now we're going to do 270, and it's basically about moving the point around, rotating it around the origin, this point, kind of rotating it around. Uh, we talked about visualizing that if I rotate it 90 degrees, it's 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1, so right 4 up 1. And if I move the paper just 90 degrees, it's a quarter of a turn, I'd go over 4 up 1 and have the new one. We've already talked about 180, which is taking the original and turning it halfway around, because all the way around would be 360 to 180, and do the same thing for 1. And now what we're going to do is we're going to rotate it 3/4 of the way all the way around. So if I take this paper and I see that this is 1, 2, 3, 4 up 1, right 4 up 1, I'm going to turn it 90, 180, and then 270. Once I've moved it 270, I now can create where that image was. We're supposed to go over 4 to the right 4 up 1. Okay, now let's look at that point. That new point is now the new image point, which is A prime, which is our rotation point, A. Okay, so again, it's a matter of moving 3/4. 270 is 3/4 of the way around. So if I think of papers, that's 90, 180, and 370. And it winds up being in the same position, only you've turned the paper around. Now, let's take a look at where that point is. The original point was 4, 1. This point is 1, -4. Now let's see what happens to the points, because some of us are going to rely on a rule. When here's the rule, and I'll show you how it worked. Graphically, what we did is we get the 4, see the 4 here, winds up being where the y is. So the x changes to the y, and we have to change its sign. It went from positive to negative. So that corresponds to x goes to -x. The original point we had a y of 1. It's now no longer the y, it's now the x. So that's what we're going to do with our formula. We're going to take the x, put it where the y belongs and make it negative. Take the y and move it where the x belongs. So let's pick a random figure. We're going to take a shape of a triangle. And we're going to take this triangle and move it here. But we're going to do each point individually and then connect the dots to make the image. So A is -1, 3. I'm supposed to take the x and move it where the y is, but I have to change its sign. It was -1. It becomes +1. That's what the formula says to do. Then the y moves to where the x is. So my y was 3. It's now where the x is. That is my new point under a rotation of 270 degrees. B, let's just do another one. Suppose we have a triangle, so we have 3 points. Let's do this one. X was 2. It moves to the y, but you change its sign because that's what the rule says. The y moves to the x. So 5 is my y. It moves to the x. Done. And C, we're supposed to take the x and move it to the y, but we don't have to change its sign. It's 0. And then 2 moves where the x goes. 2. There is, if I connect these 3 points and now have a triangle, that's a reflection or a rotation of 270.